Yeah, I can hear you good. Good. How are you
Oh,
today?
cool. Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How was your day so far?
Haven't really done a whole lot. Sent off a couple emails. We got rehearsal later today, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, sounds good. Sounds good. So, Jimmy, on July 8th, you released your single Getting High. So, can you tell me a bit about the songwriting and the production behind the single?
Yeah. So that song, without giving away too much, that song was mostly written by Jake, our lead guitar player, kind
Mhm.
of written for Marty,
Yeah,
who's from West Virginia. And there's a lot of drug addiction problems in West Virginia. So he kind of wrote that with the intent of it being a West Virginia centric
hmm,
kind of subject matter.
yeah,
And that was kind of what Marty took and ran with it.
sounds good. Sounds good. And do you guys have any plans for a full-length album?
You know, we will someday at some point, but right now, especially this close to, the other side of the pandemic,
Hmm.
and as a new band, I think it's just smarter for us to put out individual singles.
Yeah.
We've done, I think, 8 releases so far. This is
Mhm.
our third with Imagine Records, our label, and it just seems to me like the rapid fire, more content, more singles coming out is the move currently. Now, someday I'd love to do a full length record when it makes sense financially, but until then, we'll probably just keep putting out one or two at a time.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And starting next month, you'll be touring in around the US. So how does it feel to be back on tour, and how do you guys feel about that?
Oh my God, I've missed it so much. I'm really looking forward to it. We took a ride in our bus down to Nashville to go to NAM,
Mhm.
Summer NAM this last week, and I counted up the days, and it was like 683 days since I'd fallen asleep in a moving bus like I did that day, which is what I'm used to. So it's great to know that that's coming up so soon because that's what I think we're all best at is going around and playing live.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And talking about your release of Flash back in the year, like it has got a
Yeah.
huge attention. Like from even from Brian May, you guys got appreciated. Like he was so fascinated by the way you guys produced the song, and the output was super amazing. So how do you feel about that?
Oh man, that was a great experience finding out that Brian May liked it. We we first did that song. We recorded it at a place called Sweetwater Studios
Mm.
out in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and we just kind of did it as like a little side thing. It was, we didn't know if we were gonna have big plans for it. We always kind of joked, what if Brian May ended up seeing this? And I think it was about a year from when we recorded it to when we actually put it out and or when it actually got into Brian May's hands. And that was actually done through Sam Jones, our
Yeah.
publicist, Sean, and then Sam Jones, who was Flash Gordon in the movie. I don't know if you've seen the movie before, but
Yes.
Sam Jones got a hold of it and got it into Brian May's hands alongside our publicist Shauna. And that was really cool. We ended up getting to meet and hang out with Sam Jones about 2 months ago, probably.
Mhm.
And he's a great guy.
Awesome, awesome. So, do you think in the future there will be a possibility of you guys playing along with Brian May or with the Queen?
I would love that more than anything. If they will have us, we will pack up and do it tomorrow.
That sounds great to me. That's great to me. And so far, the singles you have released is absolutely amazing. Each song is perfectly done. So, how do you feel about after the release of each song? So, how do you feel about it? Do you think you have done the perfect job on each of its releases?
No, there's always stuff we can do better. I think if you're at a point where you're looking back and going, "Oh, that was perfect. We did that perfectly," you're probably not growing as, whether it be creatively or business wise. There's something that we've done wrong on every one. So we're always kind of trying to look back and fix what we did that time and improve upon it. There are certain songs earlier on, even just that we put out a little bit over a year ago that I think are awesome songs, but I would have changed the production on them, maybe flashed them up a little bit. Uh, and so that, we're kind of mentally doing at that point now. We're trying to figure out how to make every song have some sort of nice piece of candy to it or something.
Yeah. Sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. And can you tell me how the Lonely One started?
Well, the four of us were in another band called Bobaflex that broke up in July of 2019, so just about 2 years ago to the day. And we decided that we wanted to keep playing music together. With our the singer in our old band, Sean, he wanted to get off the road and spend time with his family. We didn't want to continue under that old name, so instead of dragging that band along with us, we decided to completely stop, start a new band, and move forward as a new band with new material, et cetera, et cetera. And it was just a creatively honest thing to do. I didn't want to feel like we were tricking people into going to see Boba Flex, so we figured we'd just start from scratch.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And why did you guys choose to name the Lonely Ones?
That was Marty's idea. We were sitting in a parking lot on tour as Boba Flex when we were deciding what we were going to do with the band, and we ran through maybe like 10 names and kicked around ideas, and if I remember right, Marty actually had the idea for the Quiet Ones, I think. But then that was too close to a movie, and so we kind of tried to stay in that. We liked the way it sounded, so tried to stick with that. We ended up thinking it was cool to, we toured so much. We have such a strange social circle that we keep that we felt like a lonely might be a good word for it.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good to me. And can you tell me how has the experience of being in the band so far?
It's been really weird so far because we started right as COVID started hitting in the United States. We watched it come around in Europe prior and in China, but we kind of blockheaded, didn't think it was going to come here. So we just kept marching forward with the band as usual. And then next thing we know, everything's hitting full force, and we have to completely readjust what we were planning on doing and just start recording more, because originally we weren't going to have nearly as much material as we do. But because of everything that happened, we played it safe, we locked down for a couple months, and then when once people started advising you could go out with masks, we started recording right away. So that kind of became our main priority through all of this, was creating more music, more video, et cetera, et cetera.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And within a short span of time and not much of touring, you guys are popular around the world. So how does it feel to you?
It's really cool. People really, really like it. I got to give it up to our label, Imagine Records. Everybody says this because they have to, but they, about their label, but they really are doing a really good job with what we've got. Our team, they're really cool. I can call them up and crack a joke with them before we get into business. And it's nice to have people that will just pick the phone up whenever they're not focusing elsewhere, avoiding you, ignoring you, hounding you for this or that. It's just, we're all focused on getting things to grow. So I really have to give a lot of the knowledge, or give a lot of it up to the knowledge that they brought to the table that we didn't have, because the industry has changed so fast. If your job is not to keep up on it and you have slept on it for a year, all your knowledge is completely outdated. So they've kept us accountable on that front in a really good way.
That sounds good. Sounds good. And would you like to share some of the great moments you had in the last couple of years with the band?
Well, Brian May telling us that he liked the song was one of them. We had a recording session that was, nothing in particular interesting happened at it, but it was just, nothing interesting that I can say publicly. But it was just such a great experience. We locked ourselves in a studio for 2 weeks, which is not something, a lot of bands do anymore. They got hotel rooms, or they're going back to their homes or whatever. We were living in the studio with air mattresses on the floor, sleeping there for 2 weeks straight, didn't stop. And it was just such a positive experience to have that much creativity around you. It was us and then Joe Beers and Jacob Mooney, who are two phenomenal recording engineers. They helped us out through the entire process. We never left. And Getting High was the first song that we released from that session of living there. And I think that kind of in the moment, living in the studio energy carries off into the songs that we'll be putting out. I think it's different than what we've done before.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And do you guys follow some kind of concept or theme when you start writing a song, or you just do it randomly?
No, a lot of times there's really not one at all. Sometimes I'll bring a song that I demoed at my house to the table, almost fully written, and then give it to Marty to write lyrics. Sometimes Marty will just have a vocal line. We'll all stand there in a room together and work it out. Sometimes Jake will just have a riff and we'll build off of that. So we really don't have a formula, which I think is probably better than sticking to a formula, because you never quite know what you're going to end up with.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And what would be the next plans for the band?
Well, we're touring. We're doing headlining runs through the end of this year, and then from there we're going to do our best to get out and open for some larger acts. You know, I'd love to be out in those mini arenas or large music hall kind of scenarios where there's 1,000 people in the crowd or there's 3,000 people in the crowd, and that in this day and age, so much of your structural integrity of your band comes from live shows, that being able to be exposed to those larger crowds is going to help. So that is our next priority after we get out and take our training wheels off on the road and really get everything tightened up perfectly. That's the goal.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And do you have a dream arena that you really dream to play in that particular place?
O2 in England, just because I've just seen so many concert videos there, probably.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And finally, what would be the message from you to the fans?
If you like a band, keep an eye on what they're doing. There's a lot of stuff that social media hides from people. You know, I could try to tell you about tour dates and you might never see it. So if you want to keep up with a band, follow them on all their social media. Every week or two, go look at their page, see what they've posted that you didn't see. Just keep an eye out. Fan creator interaction is so much more valuable than it even was 5 years ago. So reaching out, asking questions, looking at tour dates, it's all that all helps us tremendously. And I think it gives people what they want more, so they don't feel like they've missed something.
Sounds good. And thank you so much for your time that you have given me today in this interview. And thank you guys for putting up amazing music for the whole music world. Thank you so much. And you have a good day.
Buddy. You have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.